welcome to the first installment of the Indoorfins podcast in the month of September. I'm Ethan.
I'm Tuesday.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys.
So, it is finally the end of the preseason of the National Football League.
Yay! The games that don't matter anymore are done happening. I can finally start paying attention.
Wow, what a disrespectful, completely unbelievable thing to say.
No one cares about the preseason. We all know no one cares about the preseason. For one reason, and one reason only. The year that the Colts won the Super Bowl, what was their preseason record? 0-4.
Yep.
Do you know what the preseason record of the Raiders was? I think it was the exact same season or the season before that particular preseason. 4-0. 4-0. 4 wins. And everybody was like, you know what? The Raiders are ready. The Raiders are absolutely ready. They're going to be contenders. They're going to take everybody out. The AFC is theirs for the taking. Do you know how many games they won that year? It was like 2.
Yep.
2 games.
Exactly. 2
games that actually mattered. They actually won. So I don't care about the preseason. Never watched the preseason. You're watching a bunch of guys who are fighting to make the roster. When it comes to other sports, you're watching a bunch of kids. You're watching a bunch of people who are not completely solidified as professionals and are not on the roster yet. Like, you got guys duking it out for spots. Not everybody's ready. And I just don't care to see that meat grinder process. Show me the team. Show me the team and show me if they're good enough. I don't want to hear the rest.
Well,
I know what it takes to make sausage. Nobody said I had to watch it every time.
No, you are exactly right on. I had a couple of points to talk about for the NFL preseason. Couple big moves. The little ones first. The Bills traded perennial backup A.J. McCarron.
More famous for having a girlfriend that stunned Brent Musburger than anything else.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah, when you Google A.J. McCarron, the first thing that pops up is A.J. McCarron wife. Oh my gosh.
So, it was back when he was in college, and Brent Musburger is calling an Alabama game, and he just loses his mind. They show his girlfriend, and he just absolutely loses his mind, and he's like, oh my god, you quarterbacks get all the good perks. And I'm just like, wow, treat her like she's a woman, Brent. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But, like, he just freaked out, because, I mean, I won't lie, she's stunningly beautiful. Like, if you, like, he had never seen her before, and he was just like, oh yeah, they're just going to pan over to his girlfriend. Holy gee, she looks like she should be, like, Giselle's partner in a model shoot somewhere. Like, yeah, she belongs in a modeling shoot. She's that kind of woman. But, like, also, like...
His wife is trending.
Yeah, she's pretty popular. I think she does stuff, like, on the side.
Because the New York Post made an article 7 hours ago that said A.J. McCarron's wife says goodbye to the Bills. Not A.J. McCarron. A.J. McCarron's wife.
The person who,
is married to him.
Nothing to do with the franchise.
He was traded to the Oakland Raiders.
They still got Derek Carr, right?
Yeah, they still have Derek Carr.
So A.J.
And A.J. Manuel.
Still a backup.
Yeah. Speaking of the Raiders, of course, nobody should forget, they are still moving to Las Vegas in at most 2 years.
Stop bringing it up.
Yeah. Well,
stop bringing it up.
Not going to stop bringing it up because it's your owner who decided that.
That is a hard pill to swallow. I actually do not enjoy the fact that Oakland's not going to have a team anymore. Like, that hit, like, just the whole atmosphere is so Oakland.
Even, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Even if Al Davis were still the owner, I'm going to think that he might have still made that move because he was the one who moved Oakland Raiders to L.A.
He did move him there in the first place.
So he did it just out of spite.
Yeah.
Like, he was that kind of person. Like, he was like, all right, you're not going to either build a stadium or you're not going to recognize, you're not going to allow the team to move this place or this time I'm going to move it anyway to the commissioner.
So he halfway tried to pull up Baltimore.
Yeah, basically.
Tried to just sneak out in the middle of the night, and they caught him before he could get out the door.
Well, he did it anyway. He moved to LA.
They did get out the door.
Yeah, they just didn't have a stadium in LA. So they played in the Coliseum. They played in the Memorial Coliseum.
Rose Bowl. Rose Dome.
The Rose Dome. Nope, no dome there.
Can't believe I just said Rose Dome out loud.
No, you're good.
Oh, wow.
But the biggest... Alright, two big moves. Two big signings. Three big signings. Odell Beckham Jr. signed 5-year deal worth $85 million, I believe.
Oh, Odell just got paid.
Let me check that money really quick. It was 5 years for sure.
Absolutely amazing.
Over the first 3 years, he'll be paid $60 million. He's $95 million.
Oh man.
$65 million guaranteed.
$65 million guaranteed. Hang on. Whoa.
He will be the highest paid receiver. I made a mistake. When I was talking to you last time, saying that Antonio Brown might have been higher. Nope, he's not. So he will be getting paid an average of $20 million a year over that earlier term. Now that was just the, if you believe it, that was just the tipping point. Because right after that, if you recall, one of the better defensive ends in the entire league, Aaron Donald, was on the verge of a holdout in Rams camp for wanting a new contract. And
what they agreed to, is he in camp now, or
he is? He got a record deal after Aaron Rodgers got an extension. Aaron Donald agreed to a 6-year, $135 million extension with the Los Angeles Rams, including more guaranteed money than Kirk Cousins got in Minnesota. $87 million guaranteed for a defensive end, which would have been more than Lawrence Taylor.
I wish you guys could see my literal face right now.
Yeah.
I'm just making the mind blown Jackie Chan, just I can't believe this is actually how could you possibly?
To which Donald said after practice, "I feel good right now." Quote. Understatement of the century.
Do you have anything? You want to say for the papers? Oh yeah, man. I just feel so.
Oh, he was holding out. He lasted throughout training camp, but he will play in the team season over. He was getting fined throughout the entire month.
That's why there's so much guaranteed money. He wants all that back with interest. Excuse me. Big check up front. Low. I am important to this team.
And so all of that led up to this moment 2 days ago when Khalil Mack was holding out. He is on the last year of his 5-year option.
Right, he wants an extension and he wants
with
extra money.
The Raiders. And the Raiders wanted to keep him. And the Raiders had said, John Gruden famously, will cut people, had been saying to the media, we want Khalil Mack and we will pay any amount to keep him. Including Reggie McKenzie, the GM, said that too. And they were up to the last minute working on negotiations to keep him, according to NFL.com. What happened was surprising to everyone, because at the last minute yesterday, he was traded to the Chicago Bears for draft picks and a player. And he was signed to a 6-year, $141 million deal worth $90 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears.
Khalil Mack is a Bear?
Yes, Khalil Mack is a Bear. despite everybody in Oakland wanting him there, they could not get that deal reached in Oakland. But the Chicago Bears were able to get it done.
So you remember how like Jay Cutler like got a crap ton of money and then just like stopped actually showing up for work except for on Sunday? Like if I were Khalil Mack, this is like the same thing as Kawhi Leonard. Like I don't want to be here. These guys are not competing for a championship. I don't care to be here.
Well,
like
I would differentiate Khalil Mack with Jay Cutler in the fact that Khalil Mack actually did his job.
Probably a bit more
and
different.
actually, was one of the best defensive ends / linebackers in the history of the Oakland Raiders in the last 15 years.
And let's consider that they have a guy named Bill Romanowski to compare guys to
Yes.
on a regular basis. Like,
And
it takes
Khalil
a
Mack
little bit to
wasn't
get compared to that guy.
dirty. So
It takes a little, okay, Romanowski was dirty, but he also epitomized the NFL at that particular
yeah,
time.
that's true.
Let's give. I can't say I agree with all of his methods, but I do have to give him credit for playing the game.
Yeah, and I was seeing the screenshot of him in Bears press conference just laughing.
Like, dude, I'm rich. What question could you possibly ask me right now? Like,
Yeah.
I have money to play a game. What do you want from me?
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like the Bears got themselves a once-in-a-lifetime player. And, yeah, the pressure's on them to get things done in the NFC North.
Who's actually going to be the Bears starting quarterback?
Mitch Trubisky.
Oops.
He was their quarterback last year. He was a rookie. They get drafted him 15th overall or something.
Okay, cool.
He was a first rounder.
We have a guy who may or may not know how to throw the ball.
He was decent.
We have one of the best defensive players of this particular era.
Yeah.
He's on his way to being there. And we have a history of either being really, really good or really, really bad.
Well,
Let's do this.
All they need is the Rex Grossman charm, and they'll get back to the Super Bowl in no time.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? Here, put it like this. They can pull it off like the Bears did in, 06?
Yeah.
Like, if they stop everybody from scoring 14 points, you have a chance.
They get Devin Hester Jr. Get them.
Khalil Mack returning kicks.
do everything.
Ray just Bo Jackson him. Just go out there and do everything. Throws it to himself. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
Hands the ball off to himself. 52 hands off 52. How do we get the same guy in 2 uniforms? Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
Exactly.
Magic. We had to sacrifice our owner. It's fine. It's okay. We're still getting checks written.
So that's it for the NFL, except for one last thing. No news on who is starting at quarterback for the Eagles week 1.
Yay!
So the coach, Doug Peterson, is being very coy. He has not yet named a starter out of Nick Foles or Carson Wentz.
Okay, so I got a great idea. So it's gonna be Carson Wentz's body. It's gonna be Nick Foles' legs. So we can run a little bit better. But still throw the ball. So
Okay.
I think this is the first time you're ever gonna see augmented bodies in the NFL. You're gonna see 2 guys fused together for week 1. It's gonna be an interesting, groundbreaking time in the NFL. They gotta do something to get the fans back.
Okay.
They gotta figure out how to keep them there past the first 3 minutes where the game isn't actually being played and we're just singing a song about bombs exploding.
Oh, yeah.
For, no reason other than the Army pays us.
Yep.
And we've created this whole controversy about things that are actually going on in this country, and we've made it about a flag.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm gonna stop talking about that particular subject.
No, you're good. So, coming up next, NCAA football. I actually wrote a post about this on our page. Michigan and Notre Dame game.
Oh yeah, that's right. Notre Dame they kicked off the season.
Yeah, it kicked off the season with a 21-3 lead against Michigan. And then they allowed them to slowly creep back into the game. It was 24-17 final on a last-minute drive by Michigan that ended in their quarterback fumbling the ball, and then Notre Dame just kneeled it out to end the game. Michigan apparently had a vaunted defense that was nowhere to be found until the fourth quarter, when they finally started putting more pressure on Notre Dame's quarterback, who, despite his 49% accuracy from last season, seemed to be doing fairly well in the first half. He had a touchdown drive, and he was throwing okay, but then the second half came around, and he just did not seem to do well under pressure. He was throwing them long. He threw an interception. Well, he didn't. He did throw an interception, I thought, but then when I looked in the stats, there was an interception on his stats. So that's what got me. And so it might have been the backup quarterback that came in on a few plays for him. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I know a Notre Dame quarterback threw an interception that game. There were a few penalties. Not too many. Like 5 or 6 at most. But yeah, what got me was it was one of the few college games that night that was not a blowout. If you saw the scores.
Thing about college football, like a lot of times, if you get guys that are just a little too much out of their range, it becomes a blowout and it becomes like a 50, 60 point difference immediately, and you're just kind of like, dang,
Yeah.
like you just got jumped all over, and now I have to spend 3 quarters playing damage control with a team that's already got 30 points on me in a single quarter, you know? Like,
yeah, like
difficult.
some of the scores last night. Wisconsin beat Western Kentucky 34-3.
I mean, it's
UCF.
no offense to Western Kentucky, but you're only Western Kentucky.
UCF beat UConn 56-17. Oklahoma beat FAU 63-14. And like how do you give up 77 points to Oregon State, 31-77 to Ohio State? TCU 55, SOU 7. This just a beatdown, 45-0. Georgia over who is PEAY? Austin Pia P. Who names your? What is
Austin Peavy?
PA?
PEAVY? What do you
No, it's PEAY. That's the name of the university.
Great, now we're all just like trying to
At
figure out.
P State. That's how you pronounce it?
Austin P State University?
Austin P State University.
Well, Austin P State University is in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah. Who?
I'm sorry, but you have Austin in your name, and I was just thinking Texas immediately. Like,
That's
this
the
is
person's
Tennessee.
name, Austin P. But how do you pronounce? Is it Austin P? PA? This dude.
Austin P.
He was a governor of Tennessee. Huh. Wow.
I don't know. That's not even what I got caught up on. I got caught up on the fact that you said Florida Atlantic University lost 63-14.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is that school like on the periphery of my brain? Like, what is associated with that school that I would like, that it rings a bell when it gets mentioned? The head coach is one Lane Kiffin.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Forgot he went to East Jesus Nowhere, Florida. And decided he wanted to be a coach again.
Austin, PA. That's how you're supposed to say it. Freaking forgot.
I wouldn't know. And I'm sorry for butchering your school's name. Good luck in the rest of the season.
Their mascot is a dude with a top hat and an evil mustache and a monocle. That's hilarious.
So what is he, a villain from the 1830s?
More like
Sherlock Holmes on this guy now?
18. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my goodness, he got a monocle?
This is a dude.
Is he gonna lecture me on how to...
He's gonna lecture you on how
Yeah,
to
like-
tie up a damsel in distress on a railroad track.
I know, right?
You have to take off the nuts like this.
Oh
young
yeah,
son.
yeah, see? Yeah.
God, he's gonna like bare knuckle box me. I don't know.
No, he's not the one to bare knuckle box. He's more like one to have his henchman bare knuckle box.
Dude,
while he runs absconces with a bag of gold and money
Oh my gosh.
to his railroad oil tycoon baron
The villain
hideout.
takes the back door.
Yeah. See? Yeah.
I feel
All right.
bad for that guy.
I think we've gone off the rails here.
And whose fault is that, Ethan?
Austin,
It was not
Austin,
me
PA.
today.
It was Austin, PA.
Okay, it was Austin, PA.
I blame Tennessee.
I blame Florida Atlantic and Lane Kiffin and his blowout loss to Oklahoma.
All right, so one last thing. I was watching. Do you know SB Nation now has shorts, like short documentaries that they produce?
I watched all of them. I recommend all of you go watch SB Nation. They have the worst. They have weird rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of good series. They have a lot of funny insight into they rewind like very specific moments in sports history and explain like how you come to wind up at such an iconic moment, which is great. They have beef history. Oh, beef history is fantastic. Oh, listen to them talk about why guys argued and hated each other and each other's faces for 12 years straight. Oh man, fantastic. SB Nation's doing fantastic work out there, guys.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's, but for this one, specifically about NCAA and college, it was about. It's called Foul Play, and it was about the draft night sabotage of Laramie Tunsil. And if you remember,
I've seen the preview for that series, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it just. I thought it came out last month. Maybe it came out the month before, but you remember Laramie Tunsil from 2016 draft? He was the one that he was like projected to go top 5, like one of the best offensive tackles from Ole Miss. And on draft night, somebody tacked onto his Twitter and released a video of him smoking a bong from a gas mask. And suddenly he was no longer in the top 5 of any team's board, and he dropped all the way to 13, but for the Miami Dolphins. And somebody also released text messages between him and a coach from Ole Miss asking if he could get some rent money and some, pay assistance. And so then some investigators from the NCAA took notice and were like, well, hold on a minute. This could be an infraction from pay to play. And so that, I don't think I have enough time tonight to talk about this, but next time on the Indoorfins, might take a deeper dive into the pay to play, and I would be interested to know your position on paying college players.
Man, that is not something we even have the time for tonight.
Well, that's why I said, I'm not
even about to take a stance one way or
Oh,
another.
really? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
It's that deep. There's so much that goes into something like that. Like, yeah, let me actually come back to that when we
Okay, that's fine.
The actual time to dig into that. Like, it's such a big topic, and it's something that just
it is.
It's something that really needs to be discussed at this particular point too. Like, just with the way that revenue is created in sports, there's definitely space for this, and there's arguments that need to be made, and yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah. All right, so that was most of all I had. Jim Harbaugh really shouldn't be coaching this team in Michigan. And I really think he's only on as coach because he, brings in money, some more money in quotes for his name recognition only.
His name on the scoreboard every single Saturday is just helping sell tickets. Nobody really knows or cares what's going on. He definitely belongs in the NFL, but I don't know why he wants to try and fix Michigan so hard. And obviously it's a storied program.
Yeah, he was good for 2 seasons at most, and then it just fell off. And they need to recognize that. And they need to get better on defense. And they need to develop a running game. Seriously, the running game was almost non-existent. Like, they ran and they ran and they ran into a brick wall.
Brick wall after brick wall after brick wall.
And they also need to recognize when the running game doesn't work. On first down, don't try it again on second down. Like, if you run for a loss on first and goal,
You're going to want to try something different.
Yeah, try something different. Or, how about try play action on first down? How about that?
But nobody's going to fall for your play action if your actual run game sucks in the first place. No one's going to believe that you're trying to get 2 yards out of this play.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Or, before you do a run play on first and goal, do play action.
Okay.
So, the first and goal of the game, do a play action.
But that's like football 101. It's like, if you don't have a running game, like, you're screwed. Like, because if you don't have a running game, then...
Well, this was the first game of the season, so you got a fresh start. So you have the ability for all the teams to see to do something new. So it's just, you've had runs the entire game that did not pan out the way they were supposed to. So what made you think that down in the red zone things were going to suddenly change based on what? I don't know.
It's called poor coaching. It's called not making adjustments. It's called, since we believe in this philosophy, even if we make bad play calls, they'll run through a brick wall for us and we'll win. And then you, get out there and you're like, no,
yeah.
Just because you have team spirit does not mean you're going to go out there and win every single game. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Gotta have some tactics.
Exactly. And the perfect example of this in action, changing, is the 2006 AFC Championship game of the Colts and Patriots, when behind the scenes you saw Peyton Manning talking about having 3 straight running plays, and Jeff Saturday talked about it, 3 straight passing plays the first, and saying none of them worked and they had to settle for a field goal, and so later on they had that argument on the sideline you saw with Jeff Saturday and Peyton Manning, and Peyton was like, when we have to block, you effing block. And then out of all the people, Marvin Harrison told Peyton we should run the ball. And so they was like, all right, well, Marvin said it. So,
all right.
And then they ran it and they won, or they got the touchdown.
Yeah,
so
it worked out.
So all right, so
Everyone's gotta believe.
Tennis. Serena Williams is in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open.
The greatest of all time marches on again.
The unfortunate part is
she had to beat her own sister.
She had to beat her own sister.
So disappointing.
6-2, 6-2, I believe, was the final score against her sister Venus in the third round.
I remember when that used to be the final. It used to be the greatest spectacle of all time. It makes me sad. This was just around a 16 match. Obviously, Venus has been great throughout her career in her own right. Obviously, the immense, consistent success of her sister has kind of overshadowed her a little bit, but Venus is more than successful and has more than earned a right to call herself one of the greatest of her generation as well in her own right. Like I said, I get nostalgic because I think of these matches from 15, 20 years ago as finals, and I don't think it was 20 years ago, but maybe it was. But it's just great to see Serena back. It's great to see Venus up and running again because she had a lot of different health issues going on in her life. So it's good to see her up and healthy for a big tournament because it doesn't always usually turn out that way. So it's good to see that she's been managing herself well in the later parts of her career when it comes to that. U.S. Open's a lot of fun. Last big one of the year. Fun circuit, fun times. I'm all here for Serena Williams knocking everybody out, taking it home again. The men's side.
Rafael Nadal beat Basilashvili in 4 sets. Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce the name either. So
Nicolas Basilashvili. So he'll be on to the quarterfinals to face Dominic Thiem. who is from Austria. He's the number 9 ranked player in the world. So let's see. John Isner won his match. So let's see. Novak Djokovic is still playing. Juan Martín Del Potro is still playing.
Federer's still in.
Federer's still in. Martin Cilic still in. Who else is still in?
Kevin Anderson just lost to Thiem. Never mind. I was gonna get excited and be like, "It's gonna be Isner and Kevin Anderson again." No, it's not.
Novak Djokovic is still in.
Yeah.
So he has to play his match.
He has to play Souza.
Oh yeah, I said that. Kei Nishikori is still in. So he's been proving himself lately. He's a lone Asian player, still in the U.S. He's still in the U.S. Open. He's from Japan. He'll play Philipp Kohlschreiber from Germany, and then if he wins, he'll be in the quarterfinals. And who else from the women's side? Let's see. Maria Sharapova made it to the quarterfinals, I believe. Sloane Stephens she won a set, so she wins the next set. She'll be in the quarterfinals. Let's see, who else? Madison Keys has to play hers, and that's all I know. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I haven't watched tennis in so long that it's taken me a
Really, there's actually.
It's a lot.
If Madison Keys wins, there'll be 3 Americans in the women's singles quarterfinals. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And Serena actually got to at least meet Eric Reed's niece, and possibly Eric Reed, because Eric Reed and Colin Kaepernick were in the stands in the U.S. Open. And Serena said, all should be grateful for Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed for helping the greater good. Said, I think every athlete, every human, and definitely every African American should be completely grateful and honored how Colin and Eric are doing so much more for the greater good, so to say. They really use their platform in ways that is really unfathomable. I feel like they obviously have great respect from a lot of their peers, especially other athletes, people that are really looking for social change. Oh. I'll be.
I mean, they've basically... At this point, they've basically thrown their careers away for the platform that they stand on. And you know what? They do deserve a lot of respect, and they do have a lot of courage for doing what they've done after, reaching where they could have been, reaching where they are. They could have been complacent. They could have just kept taking the paychecks, and they could have said, we're just not going to talk about it. And they said, no, what we have to actually talk about is more important than the paychecks that we're going to make from the Eagles, not the Eagles, the 49ers, or the Ravens, or or whoever else that would have wound up paying for either one of these players to actually pay for them. Yeah, because what's happening in this country, having the status of being a football player does not stop these things from happening to you. Ask Michael Bennett. This is bigger than the NFL. This is bigger than any single game that they would ever be able to play. This is people's lives, and sure, everybody. The idea is that this game that they play on a regular basis is just that. It's a game. People have to drive home and go back to their lives after this game, right?
Yep.
Why is it that a certain section of our fan base can't drive home without fear? That's just strange. That's just odd. That's something that shouldn't happen in a country that advertises itself the way it does. We as people, the people, need to do better. And for Colin Kaepernick and for Eric Reed to stand up and say that, and to literally lose millions, tens of millions of dollars potentially, to put all that on the line and say, I don't want it because what we need to change is more important. Yeah, I give them a little bit extra respect. I am grateful that they've done it for us. I am honored. They are Mr. colleague, Mr. Eric. Like, they've done a lot, and we got things to do.
Yeah.
But it's good to hear from them. And it's good to see Serena also stepping up and saying this is something that we need to focus on and remember and make sure that, like, when the movement gets where it's going, we don't forget the people who started it. Because it's very easy to ride the fence, and Serena Williams of all people, not riding the fence. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and one last thing I forgot to mention about Kaepernick is that this week, one of the arbitrators in the NFL's grievance process sent his grievance against the NFL to trial, which means that they denied the league's request to throw out the claims that he made against the league. So that's something, possibly. At least, it's a step in his direction that the league did not want to happen. So
we'll see.
We'll
see. It actually finishes itself.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so that's it for tennis, and last two up, soccer.
Real football.
Hooray! Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're
sorry.
good.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, big news. The big news this week actually had nothing to do with my favorite team. It was Liverpool and Leicester. Jamie Vardy was still suspended. He picked up a red card, and obviously he hasn't been able to play for the past couple of games. But after taking care of that, with him being suspended, and there's also the fact that there's no Mahrez, Riyad Mahrez obviously being sold to Manchester City for a crap ton of European money. Leicester put up a fight. Like, Liverpool are favorites to actually win the championship this year. Like, Liverpool are one of the few teams that have actually started off the season 4 games, 4 wins. Absolutely top of the table, best goal difference. Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, all off the mark. All have goals. Firmino's also got 2 assists. Liverpool are up for it. And they had 2 goals in the first half. It was Mane and it was Firmino with a corner kick. Well, off of the corner kick. He didn't actually kick it. But Leicester just don't give up. And it was a good game. And it was a good fight. And I was just thinking about it. I was looking at the way that the table is turning up right now. Because Liverpool on top, Chelsea in second place. And strangely, Watford 4 for 4. +6 goal difference, 12 points. Shout out to Giordini. I see you guys doing it. In all honesty, I don't see Watford finishing 3rd. But then again, at the same time, I also don't see Burnley finishing 19th or Manchester United finishing 10th. So it is early in the season. But Liverpool are probably the strongest team in the league right now. Nothing really seems to get in their way. Scoring goals with ease, turning gears, picking up runs, picking up players wherever they want, attacking. The counter press is ridiculously strong. I'm honestly scared of Liverpool. Like, Liverpool is just literally just really strong team. Manchester City bounced back from that weird handball with Wolves 2 weeks ago, beat Newcastle 2-1. The winner coming from Kyle Walker, of all players. Raheem Sterling scored in the 8th minute, and then DeAndre Yedlin, the United States international, scored his first Premier League goal in the game yesterday in the 30th minute. So DeAndre Yedlin, good looking out for you. Hope you have a good international break. But Kyle Walker coming through early on in the second half with outside of the box strike. Absolutely beautiful Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker deserved a goal, honestly. He's been playing really well for a really long time. And I think Manchester City are honestly on their path to another really great season. Since 2009-2010, in which they finished 5th, and the leading scorer was Carlos Tevez. Ever since then, the team has not finished below 4th, which was in 2015-2016. They won the Prim in 2011, second, first in 2013, second, fourth, third, and obviously first last year with their 100 points. Manchester City obviously are also going to be another one of those teams that are just going to be up there. I wouldn't bet on them finishing anything lower than second, honestly, either. They're going to win or they're going to be right there to the very end, but I am going to stick with Liverpool probably. In other results, Manchester United have not been defeated again. They did beat Burnley this morning. However, Paul Pogba did miss a penalty. Marcus Rashford will be suspended for pretty much the same reasons as Richarlison. You just kind of make contact with the other guy's forehead and kind of give him a little like T-Rex motion. You know what I mean? And you just... I don't know why. It's not really all that dangerous. It's not really all that rude. It's not like you're going to like open up anybody's like skin or anything. But Marcus Rashford gets a red card for putting his forehead against another guy's forehead. And yeah, it's fun times at Manchester United. They had the plane flying over this morning. Or it's not. Well, it's for us this morning. It said Ed Woodward, the American owner of Manchester United, a specialist in failure. The fans are starting to get fed up with Jose Mourinho and his very abrasive management style, whether it comes with throwing Paul Pogba or Luke Shaw under the bus, demanding respect for his former glories, disrespecting Manchester United's football heritage. It's going to be a fun time to be a Manchester United fan this year. But on a counterpoint, Burnley are not doing so well, sinking in the Europa League. Haven't won a Premier League game in I think 9, maybe 10 matches, I believe, at this point. Burnley have won just one of their past 18 top flight meetings with Manchester United, and Lukaku putting in both of the Manchester United goals was the first time he scored 2 goals for United since August 2017. Scored twice against West Ham in a 4-0 win. After the international break, United have Watford. Burnley will be going to newly promoted Wolverhampton Wanderers. And Man City will, after the international break, be traveling to London to take on newly promoted Fulham, featuring Alexander Mitrovic and Ryan Sessegnon, the English sensation. Mitrovic ensured also ensured that Fulham got a share of the spoils on the other side of a Glenn Murray brace and a 2-2 draw with Brighton. One of the last things I wanted to touch on for the Premier League was Cardiff finally scored a goal today. The other team from Wales, Victor Camarasa, scored in stoppage time in the first half. To make it 1-1. Cardiff did make it 2-2. Aubameyang and Danny Ward scored goals 8 minutes apart from each other. But Alexander Lacazette, the Frenchman, turned beautifully inside the box. Very bit of a lucky goal, but tell you what, when it's the Premier League and it's 3 points, you'll take it, especially when it's on the road, no matter who you're playing against. Cardiff City, good job for actually finally being the last team in the top 4 flights of English football to actually score a goal. But they finally did it. And they did it twice. And they still lost. Poor Cardiff. It's okay, guys. Premier League ain't for everybody. It will be nice to see you fight, to stay up. It'll be fun.
So,
and last thing, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Just the last thing is Barcelona. I haven't picked up every score, but I have picked up this one. Barcelona scored 8 goals today. 7 of their own volition. There is an own goal in here. But Messi scored in both halves. Luis Suarez scored in both halves. Ousmane Dembele, Ivan Rakitic, and Jordi Alba all scored in the second half. Although, if it does make you feel any better, Huesca did score first. Cucho Hernandez scored in the 3rd minute. It looks like it took Messi his goal to reply. But yeah, Barcelona 8 goals today. Valverde probably not feeling as much pressure today. We'll get into the Champions League draw and all those kinds of things coming up here real soon. Man, that is all the time that the Champions League draw, and we'll get into what's going on with Heung-min Son, the South Korean superstar who's having a bit of a conflict right now because he is trying to get out of his mandatory military service, and to do so, he's got to win international. He's got to win an international competition. So he's currently on international duty, playing for Korea in the Asian Games, and
sounds like a Disney movie in the making.
It is, yeah, yeah.
Just saying.
That's where the sound effect goes.
The rim shot.
Yes.
Ah, I don't have it queued up.
I know, but that was a spot.
Dang it! Did it?
But yeah, all
We're gonna add
able-bodied
sound effects
males
later.
over the age of 28 must complete a minimum of 21 months of military service, and Son doesn't actually qualify for any of the exemptions yet, and put his military career on hold so that he could become the superstar that he is at the game. But now that he's coming up on 28, he needs to have a decision made because he's gonna have to actually perform the service, or if he doesn't win one of these required tournaments. So it's a very interesting story, and there's a few different places where you can find good features on it. But just look up Tottenham's Heung-min Son, and just look up what's going on with him in his military service, and you'll find plenty of well thought out think pieces on what's going on with his particular situation. Excuse me.
He was an international soccer star with a rocking girlfriend.
Wow.
And a cool set of friends. But there was just one problem. He couldn't win a game.
Oh my god. Couldn't win a trophy. New.
They're gonna send me back to fight in the army if I don't win. Record scratch.
Tidbit.
This summer.
Tidbits. Usain Bolt is officially a professional soccer player. Played football in Australia this weekend for Adelaide United. I believe it's the team they played for. I haven't looked at the highlights. I don't know what it actually looks like. But I tell you what, just launch it over the top and let him run after it. Like you'll be fine every time. Also, Clinton Dempsey retired from football. Clinton Dempsey, famously known in England as the Cowboy, or in some circles as the American, played for both Fulham and I believe, Tottenham Hotspur. Scored goals for both in the top. Scored goals for both in the top flight. Fulham, their last time in the Premier League, depended heavily on Clinton Dempsey to score goals for them. Peak of his career, probably could have kept playing in the Premier League, came back here to America to play for Seattle Sounders. Clinton Dempsey has a special place in American football history, not just for his rapping skills, but just for his calm demeanor, and just for the fact that he's like, it's like Goose Gossage. He kind of has those moments where he's like, you know what, the worst thing that's gonna happen to me tomorrow is I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna go fishing. That's not the worst thing that'll ever happen to me. Like, just really, really enjoy Clint Dempsey, and I appreciate everything that he's brought to the game and all the progress that he helped the men's national team make before the big meltdown that caused us to miss this World Cup. But Clint Dempsey is a big reason why football has become what it is in this country, is his face, and him being one of the people who's scored multiple goals in the Premier League as an American. I think he's actually, I'll look it up, but he's in all likelihood the most prolific American in English Premier League history, if not overseas. Period.
Well, when you become a meme, you transcend sports.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Wait, no, that wasn't Clint Dempsey. Ah, dang it. I was thinking of the goalkeeper.
Oh, that's Tim Howard.
Yeah, Tim Howard.
You're thinking of Tim Howard being the brick wall that he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't hear me because I just blocked you. That was amazing. So you're telling me Liverpool, Chelsea, Watford, and Manchester City and Everton have not all played each other once.
Not yet this season, though.
Wow. Okay.
Not yet. We got 38 games to play total. Like, we're fine.
I was like 3 4-0 teams, a 3-1 team, and a 1-3 team. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like we're all just starting off. Like I said, Cardiff have just scored a goal today and are still in 16th place with 2 points. That's what good defense gets you. Check it out, West Ham. That's what happens when you don't let people score goals on you. God, I feel so sorry. I love West Ham. I really love the fact that they blow bubbles and stuff, and they just are getting destroyed all the time. Yeah. Behind Dwight York, Clint Dempsey has 57 goals for Fulham and Tottenham.
So,
But Dwight York technically has the record for the continent since he's from Trinidad and Tobago.
okay, we're at 51. 51 past the hour. 44 past the hour. And on to our last segment on the Major League Baseball playoff picture. As it stands now, with the rankings, the Boston Red Sox are in first place in the American League East at 94-44, followed by the Houston Astros. Well, technically the Yankees have the second best record, but they're in the wild card. The Astros have first place in the AL West, and the Cleveland Indians have first place in the AL Central. Pardon me. The wild card race has the Yankees in first place, followed by the Oakland A's in second place. And the National League, the Atlanta Braves are in first in the NL East. The Chicago Cubs are in first in the NL Central. And the Los Angeles Dodgers are clinging on by half a game to first place in the NL West.
While they're being closely followed by the Rockies, who are only behind by a half game, and the Diamondbacks are only behind by 1 full game.
Yes. And then, the wild card race, the Brewers are in first place, and the Rockies are technically in second place, but as you said, it'll be coming down to the wire if it stays this close all the way till basically the end of the season, which is, let me check really quickly.
This Boston team is ridiculous. Holy crap.
The end of the season is...
I'm just loving the fact that the actual wild card race, at least one of them is going to be pretty tight. Because in the American League, you have the Yankees, the Oakland A's, and then Seattle's 5 games back, and Tampa Bay's 8 games back. And then after that, the Angels have a 15-game gap to make up, so you're really not looking at too many guys fighting for that spot. But over here in the National League, you have Milwaukee and St. Louis, and then you have Colorado 1.5 games out, Arizona 2 games out, Philadelphia 3.5 out. To have 5 teams in it rather than just the 3 maybe,
It's 4 weeks left in the season.
We got time.
October 1st, playoffs begin. Can you believe it?
Yes, I can.
We're less than a month away from the Major League Baseball playoffs.
I'm ready.
There are less than 28 games left in this regular season.
I want my Cubs championship again.
Yeah.
I want more.
Just some cleanups. Just to clarify for the Yankees, you cannot touch the umpires. You will get suspended and ejected from the game. That's for Aaron Boone, the manager of the Cubs, who went on a tirade, which was lovely, where he reenacted what it was like to be the catcher behind the plate. It was amazing. Here, I'm going to show the video inside the studio. But yeah, he was very upset with something that was called the ball. Oh, yeah. And this will be the last thing before we get to our next podcast coming up.
We have a special second episode for you guys.
Yeah, we have a special second episode starring a special guest, Michelle Young, who is a local artist and activist in the city, in general overall human being extraordinaire.
Yeah, that'll get you suspended, Aaron Boone.
And he also, his hat touched the umpire's hat when he was right next to him.
Don't touch the umpire.
Yeah.
Never touch the umpire.
Yeah.
Even though he's got all that chest plate, he's got all that stuff, like, he's clearly not going to feel it. Don't touch him.
Yeah.
Just don't touch him. Which is fine, I guess. I mean, I can touch him.
Unless you're Lou Pinella, in which case...
The rules do not apply.
The rules do not apply.
Gotta love it.
So, thank you again for another great listening session to the Indoorfins Sports Podcast out of Indianapolis, Indiana, in my basement.
Don't forget to follow us on all your favorite social media, on Instagram and on Twitter. We are the Real Indoorfins. Come find us
on our Patreon. Please subscribe to us. Be a patron. We will post our link again on our Facebook page. If you donate, we will shout you out on our podcast. Let me just actually check really quick just to make sure there hasn't been any.
And once we get started, there will be giveaways. Monthly giveaways. Big prizes. It's like Oprah, except I'm not Oprah. I'm better. Okay, I'm not actually better than Oprah.
Yeah.
Just younger than Oprah. Starting off where Oprah started off at the bottom.
Alright, thank you very much.
Digging holes.
Alright.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.